Why your CV is rejected in 5 seconds. How HR actually reads a teacher's CV in Dubai. Let's begin. You spend hours and hours perfecting your CV. But do you know that before an HR even reads it, a machine might reject it in seconds? And if you are lucky to get past that, the recruiter give it just 5 minutes or less. When I say recruiter, I'm talking about the HR, not your subject HOD, right? So before your CV reaches to the head of the department of your subject, it goes through the HR, right? So when I say recruiter, I'm mentioning the HR. So what are they really looking for? Let me show you what happens behind the closed doors in Dubai schools. Make sure to keep a hard copy or a soft copy of your CV with you so that you can make the changes right away as we are going along, okay? Now, before your CV reaches the HR, it must impress a robot. This robot is called as Applicant Tracking System, or very commonly known as ATS. So what is this ATS? This ATS is actually a software. And this software is basically scans your CV, right? For a few things. So try to understand. On my school portal, I am receiving thousands of CV. The HR is not going to go through every CV. So what will happen? As a school, I'm using a ATS software. What will this software does? This software will look for few things. Majorly, it looks for 3 things. Keywords as per the job description. So the keywords which I mentioned in the job responsibilities, are these keywords matching with your CV which is mentioned? Second, the formatting, the format, the template that you're using, and relevance, how relevant it is. For example, there is a job for engineer and your CV is mentioning about the education. So it's not relevant. So it should be relevant. Okay. So these are the 3 things which ATS software looks for. Again, keywords, which is mentioned in the job description, the formatting and the relevance, right? Now, this ATS out of these 1000 CV will filter out only 15, 20 or 30 depending on to how much the CVs are relevant and screen in the ATS software. And then these screened in software goes to the HR, right? What has happened is actually after COVID, 90% of the top schools in Dubai and educational recruitment agencies have started using this software. And it filters out if the so-called job description doesn't match with what is mentioned in the CV, even if you're a great teacher, right? So let's try to understand what are those 3 things which gets you rejected, right? Now, if in your CV you're using tables, if you're in your CV you're using columns, if your template is very fancy, all these things confuses the ATS system. So it doesn't let pass through it. So your CV has not even reached the HR. Second thing, as I mentioned, the ATS software looks for the key terms. So in your CV, you need to mention curriculum keywords. For example, IGCSE curriculum, CBSE, IB, American, blended learning, inquiry-based learning, differentiation, inclusion. All these are the terms which the software has. And it's going to screen in the CV based on these terms. So if these terms are missing in your CV, the ATS will again reject it. And the last thing, if after finishing the editing, your CV is saved as an image, it will not recognize it, reject it. If it is saved as PDF, but the font is unscannable. For example, some of the CV have gone through, they use very fancy font. It is unrecognizable by the ATS software. So my suggestion, use Calibri and the font size 12, 11, more than enough. This will actually let the ATS to go through and recognize. So remember, if your CV is not ATS friendly, the HR never even sees your name, right? So make sure these things, you make the changes in your CV right now, okay? Or you can make it a point that these are the things that have to change. There are columns that I have to delete. There are tables I have to delete. The template should be basic. It should not be very fancy with a lot of, hashtag and everything, right? Okay. Now let's say that your CV survives the ATS, okay? And after this ATS, it lands on my desk or any HR at a premium school in Dubai, right? Let me tell you, how do we break down the CV in only 5 minutes, right? So the first most important thing, which actually decide whether to read further or skip it are three things: your title line, your summary, and the header. Let me show you with an example. On the screen, you can see the professional title line, and this should have your subject, experience in years, and the curriculum. You can see physics, teacher, experience in years is 9+ years or 7+ years, whatever your experience is, and the curriculum, which is IB, American, CBSE, ICSE, whichever you are in, right? Next, moving to your professional summary. Now, from a HR perspective, your summary should answer the following question. So when I'm going through your professional summary, there are certain questions in my mind, and I am looking for the answer of these questions as I'm going through your professional summary. For example, who are you? IB certified teacher. Which subject you teach? Okay, physics. Years of experience, 7+ years or 9+ years. Which curriculum you taught? For example, CBSE, ICSE, American. Like, I have gone through a lot, so I have a lot of curriculum, right? What skills do you have? Okay, differentiation, inclusion, integration, right? Is there any achievement or any impact that you made? Yes, I led the science department and it was rated KHD outstanding, right? Is there any evidence mentioned in that? Yes, the progress has increased, the participation has increased, the passing rate of the students have increased. So you need to have these things. So when an HR is going through your professional summary or your objective, these are the questions, and the professional summary should answer these questions. Okay, kindly make sure to implement these changes in your CV right away, right? Okay, then coming to the header. Now this is the header part. Now this portion should also answer something. For example, your nationality, contact information, which includes your phone number or your Gmail address, right? Okay, email address. Then current location, where are you right now? Are you in India? Are you in Dubai? Are you in Abu Dhabi? Where are you, right? LinkedIn, I must really emphasize, if you put your LinkedIn, then it actually boosts the credibility. And the last part, are you available to join? Like, do you have a notice period to serve, or you're already here in UAE and you are ready to join? All these things are supposed to be mentioned in the header, right? Try to understand, you have to make a CV so that it's easy for us to review it. It should not be a struggle. It should not be like it's just written in such a way that I really have to invest a lot of time and comprehend what is the subject, what is the curriculum, what is the experience, all these. So make it as simple and easy for you, okay? For the HR actually, right? Now, in this category, we don't read further if any of the below three things are found. For example, if in case of summary and objective, it's a very long and generalized introduction, then we don't go further, we reject it. If a lot of buzzwords are used, like for example, I'm loyal, I'm confident, I'm responsible, and without any proof, right? And if the curriculum key terms are not mentioned, again, as I mentioned, curriculum key terms are a mandate. It's very important, right? Now, in the next minute, once you have passed through it, right? In the next minute, we are going to match your background with the role. So we are looking for two things. Is the curriculum you mentioned is aligning with the requirement? Meaning, let's say the role is for the American curriculum. So does the applicant possess any experience to the curriculum? And let's say, I get a lot of questions asking, can I apply in IB or IGCSE or American curriculum from India or from our home country? Yes, you can, and you should apply only if you have prior experience in that curriculum. Else, the best way to get in is to apply for a CBSE or ICSE curriculum schools. Your chances are high, because first we should try to get inside the system. Once you are inside the system, once you are here in UAE, then you can switch to the other curriculum, right? Okay. Second thing that you need to be careful is, or what we look for is, has the applicant mentioned the experience with age group or phase of school? For example, I have taught English, okay, where? Kindergarten, middle school, grade 11, 12, what? You need to mention that I taught this subject with this grade specific, okay? At this stage also, there are a red flag for us. The red flags is going to be if you just mention a generalized statement like I taught multiple subjects. Okay, what subject you need to mention? Or if you have not mentioned the curriculum or the grades that you taught, okay? Next, moving further, we want to know if you are teaching with impact. And this criteria is so dominating due to this data-driven era, especially the post-COVID. So we're looking for three things, okay? Now, because we're talking about the data-driven, the whole education system in Dubai is basically data-driven. So when you're saying my class has performed well, based on what? In my class, there are certain students who are not able to pass. Why? What makes you so sure that they are not able to pass? You'll say they are not able to score. Okay, what are the remedies have you done? What are the systems you're using? What are the tools you're using for formation, for formative learning? What are the learning management system you are using? So all these things are basically a kind of a mandate in good premium schools in Dubai, right? I'm going to talk about the good premium schools, standard schools, right? Okay, so for the data-driven criteria, when I'm going through the CV or any HR is going through the CV, we're looking for few terms, okay? Is or have the candidate used any LMS platform, learning management platform, like Canvas, Schoology, Moodle, or Seesaw? Has the candidate used any feedback tools like Edpuzzle? This is basically a video analytics to track viewing and understanding, or Kahoot or quizzes. Kahoot quizzes are very common across the globe, so you must be using, or Bluekit, Socrative, Formative, Plickers. So these terms are there. Is the candidate familiar with these terms? Okay. Then have the candidate exposed to data dashboard and reporting platforms? Now this is something like which is very common in UAE American board. It's basically the Power School. We use a lot of Power School for the data dashboard and reporting. For British schools, we use iSIMS or SIMS, and we also use Illuminate Education or Eduphoria, or for GEMS you will find Microsoft BI for basically for the GEMS one, right? Okay, so this is what we are looking for. Or for the diagnostic and benchmarking platforms, has the candidate or applicant is exposed to GL assessment, CAT4, ASSET, or MAP growth, STAR assessment, RAS kids? So have you mentioned any experience with the SEND support or inclusion, special education needs, right? Make sure to learn and add a few of these terms in your CV to stand alone, right? Okay. And finally, we ask, once all this is done, finally we ask, can we safely hire this person? Which means what we are checking, does the applicant have the child protection certificate, first aid training? Are the degrees attested? As I mentioned before also in my video, child safety, oh my God, it is a mandate. It is a mandate. First aid training, okay, any which way you are going to go through it, but child protection certificate if you have. And I have a lot of requests asking where we can do. There are free courses, child protection certificate courses in Coursera, right? And I'm not getting time, but I'm going to make a video on that also. There are so many in Coursera. I know that it is there. In GEMS portal also it's there, right? I'm going to share a link with you, right? Second thing is the CV should be clean format in a professional tone and error-free grammar. Kindly make sure there should not be any error, okay? And if you are an Arabic speaker, then it's a bonus for you. It's for sure, it's a bonus for you, okay? Now, what makes us reject even good teachers? First, typo error in the first line. If there is grammatical error, khalas. Paragraphs instead of bullet points, right? No quantifiable results, like there should be like my result this time was really good. All the students were able to pass. They got good grades. No, these are not quantifiable. You need to write, I was able to improve the passing rate from 60% to 85% in the batch of 2024 to 25. Okay. Then your CV should not feel like a biography. Okay. It should be a pitch. Use bullet points, major thing. Don't make it a 5, 6, 7 pages unless until you are a principal or in a leadership role, okay? So now you know exactly what happens to your CV before and after it reaches the HR. First, it fights a robot. Then it faces a recruiter with a red pen and a clock ticking. So if you want to see real transformation of a bad CV into an ATS Dubai friendly teacher CV, comment below old versus new. And I'll walk you through it section by section, right? Okay. Let's make sure your next application isn't just seen, but shortlisted. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.